It's Ryan Grant, Green Bay Packers, and I'd like to introduce the Packers podcast
I am very excited.
I absolutely love the
Yes, sir.
with Packer People 12 and Big B.
Big B, nice to meet you, Big B.
Social media fans if they traded up to get Jordan Love.
Carry the G.
Packers legendary quarterback Brett Hundley. MySpace and the Cheesehead TV comment.
Okay, that's just stupid.
It's gonna be awesome. Your names are awesome, so everything else is good to go. But let's have fun talking about Packer stuff. Go Pack, go!
Welcome back to another episode of the podcast with Big B and Joey. A new name though, not the Acme Packers podcast anymore. Thanks Ryan for that intro. But we are now Underage Packers podcast. So I was never really too strong with the idea of Big B's idea of Acme Packers podcast.
Yep.
Kind of rolled with it, kind of went with it. But I think I got a great name now, the Underage Packers podcast, just because we have a kind of a reputation with Aaron Nagler on Twitter, all that good stuff of being the young diehard fans.
Yes.
So we said in our intro, we might be too young to have a spotted cow, but join us every week for a Dr. Pepper and to talk everything 1265 Lombardi. Big B's actually got his Dr. Pepper. I got my water.
I do.
But
Sure.
How is that Dr. Pepper tasting?
Amazing.
Did you hear the news about the shortage? I actually sent it to you, so yeah, you did.
Yeah, about two cases today.
Good. You're prepared. My dad did the same, so we're good to go. Should last us through maybe 2 weeks. So yeah, got a new name, Underage Packers Podcast. Get used to it. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter with that username.
Yes.
But now let's talk about the Packers. The training camp continues. Week 1 just wrapped up yesterday, and now we're getting closer and closer to football. This is the time where these young guys got to step up. So, Big B, I got to ask you, who are your 3 studs of training camp up to this point?
Oof. All right. My first one is Reggie Begelton. He's been an absolute stud, of course. Kingsley Kiki has been putting on a show so far, as I've been reading on Twitter. And David Bakhtiari has been very good.
Wow.
In his last couple practices and solid camp. So let's get him extended fast.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about Bakhtiari. That's thinking outside the box. But yeah, every rep I've heard of him on Twitter, he's been doing great. He's pretty much destroying all these rookies. We might never know if David Bakhtiari is starting with the ones. However, David Bakhtiari, that's a good pick. My 3 would have to be my man, Joshua Jackson, Iowa, Tim Williams, the linebacker, and Tim Boyle, the laser show.
TBLS.
It's funny, the people are trying to create drama out of this, and I absolutely love it. I will buy into this. Tim Boyle's got a chip on his shoulder right now. Jordan Love thinks he can come in and take this quarterback 2 off his belt, but Tim Boyle is here to stay. Tim Boyle, he's ready to take over in 2022.
QB1.
21. Oh, yeah. He's sending Rodgers out right now. Rodgers better get a food tester right now. Tim Boyle's putting something in his chili tomorrow.
Yes.
But let's talk about my man, Josh Jackson. Now, I actually have a fan page for Josh, so make sure you follow that on Instagram. So he came out of Iowa. He's in his 3rd year now. In his first 2 years, he really, really struggled. Whether it was that Patriots game is so heavy in my mind. There's a lot of bad memories from that Week 8 Patriots game in 2018. MVS and EQ doing great. Aaron Jones fumbles. Josh Jackson lets up an awful touchdown where he just lets his coverage get blown, and he has the tight end in the corner of the end zone. A lot of bad memories from that. Or he's grabbing. That was his biggest criticism out of college. But he's starting to come on. I actually predicted the Packers would draft him in November of 2017. So, yeah,
Yes.
that's why I got my Packers or my Josh Jackson fan page. I got all my cards collected. I got my jersey. I wore it for his press conference today. Got to show my support. But Josh Jackson is coming on. And Big B, what do you think is the secret? Was there a magic, possibly a new staff hire that let out this greatness that Josh Jackson always had?
All right. think you know where I'm going with this, but Jerry Gray. Absolutely amazing hire. He is just so good. Love me some Jerry Gray.
I love him. Yeah, his
Yeah.
press conference the other day was fantastic. Just hearing him talking, I mean, from the tweets, from everything we've been hearing online, from reports and all that, he is just such a stand-up guy. He really wants his players to be the best players they can be. I think he loves them. I think he wants to get all that potential out of them, and I think he should be a great addition to the secondary. I love coaching trees. I love coaching history. What is Jerry Gray's coaching history? Give it to me, Big B.
All right. Former player with the Rams. Also the Bills defensive coordinator and the Titans defensive coordinator, and was on the Vikings staff, I think as the last year.
Yeah,
Or
he was with the Vikings for quite a few years.
yeah.
But yeah, earlier I believe it's like 2013, where he was the Titans defense coordinator. He was there for 2 or 3 years. Then with the Bills, he was there in the early 2000s from like '01 to '05. Just
Yeah.
my coaching tree knowledge right there.
You know what you're talking about. I don't, so I'll just let you
Yeah,
take
I spent hours looking on Wikipedia pages, and there really needs to be a website. That's what I'm going to create one day, a website where you can just click around and it's like an interactive coaching web. That's my dream because I need it, so I'm just going to make it for myself because
Yeah.
I've learned there's really a coaching connection from Curly Lambeau to Vince Lombardi. It's really amazing. I could talk about this for hours, but that's Jerry Gray for you. I really think he let out a fantastic monster in Josh Jackson. If Josh Jackson comes on, we could have a phenomenal young secondary. We got the great man Jair Alexander, and obviously we got 3 other young guys: Chandon Sullivan, Raven Green, and Kevin Keene. But I really want to focus on those 2 guys right there, Shannon Sullivan and Raven Green. They really don't have a position. They play. They're just defensive backs. What do you hope Raven Green adds to this Jerry Gray or this Mike Pettin defense? Jerry Gray is just kind of taking over.
Not really sure. I just hope he's a great player. Hopefully he does his job and succeeds. That's pretty much what I just want him to do.
A great dime backer. He doesn't like wearing sleeves. He's a bigger guy, so that's typically a little bit where you want to play dime. But you have a big hitter safety coming in that can also cover. So hopefully Raven Green, it's his 3rd year. He's been in for all 3 years with Mike Pettin. Hopefully he can come out on top, make some great plays for us. I'm really excited for both of them.
Same.
But yeah, excited for the secondary. I think we could have a great defense coming up.
Yes.
Now, moving on, there's always going to be some surprise roster cuts, some surprise players that we didn't think would make the roster a few years ago. Was Taysom Hill. What a legend that got cut. And I'm not talking about his versatile stuff he's on with Sean Payton and the cool dudes over there at New Orleans. I'm talking about the quarterback, the sole quarterback, Taysom Hill, who ran for a touchdown against the Redskins.
Yes, I love him so much when he was in Green Bay. I literally cried when we cut him. I was such a big fan. He was my legend. He was my quarterback one. Taysom Hill, forever in my hearts. Also played at BYU with the GOAT, Jamal Williams.
There you have it. We could talk about like random backup quarterbacks for hours. Like Joe Callahan is fantastic. Scott Tolzing, great. Graham Harrell, Matt Flynn. You're talking about some Packers legends right there.
Mm-hmm.
But do you have any 2 players that you think, one that might surprisingly be cut or one that might surprise people making the roster?
All right. My surprise cut is a very big surprise. It is defensive lineman Tyler Lancaster.
Ooh.
I know.
Not sure how I feel about that.
Yep. It's either Tyler Lancaster, Montravius Adams making my roster. And I
definitely think it's a close competition for Tyler. They brought in quite a few guys, if that says anything. They got Travion Hester, Montravius Adams, Kingsley Keke, all fighting kind of for that number 2 defensive tackle, but there's a lot of depth there. We'll see how it goes. And a guy who you think might surprisingly make it.
Is Stanford Samuels, the undrafted free agent out of Florida State, I think. I definitely see
tell ya.
him monster.
And he's a corner, right?
Yep, corner.
Okay, so yeah, I think I've heard him making a few plays, making some noise at corner. And that's what you got to do as an undrafted free agent. That's what you gotta make every single play you can get up there with the ones that the reporters won't be able to report, except on Patreon Zooms. But one guy that has made quite a few plays, another one, undrafted free agent, is Tim Williams.
Yeah.
He's not undrafted free agent this year. He was actually drafted by the Ravens a few years ago in the 3rd round, but he had an injury in 2018. We claimed him off of waivers this past October. He's been making some plays. Definitely think he has a great chance to make that roster behind. We obviously have 2 very reliable outside linebackers. Preston Cesario Smith, Rashawn Gary's going to be right behind them. We lost Kyler Fackrell. We're kind of looking for a guy to fill that Kyler Fackrell role.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see Tim Williams getting his spot. My surprise cut, just because, this shouldn't be surprising, but just because the fans love him, I wouldn't be surprised if Reggie Begelton gets cut. And, I want to have a whole discussion on Reggie Begelton, and then we'll probably end the first episode of Underaged Packers podcast. Maybe we should just call it the Undrafted Free Agent Packers podcast.
Why not?
Yeah, Reggie Begelton, though, he's a CFL star. Or a CFL star. He was a great player in the CFL. His tape in the CFL is great, but obviously that first letter in the FL is pretty important. He's been making some plays, but we've also seen this plenty of times. Fan favorites, they get hyped up, they make some plays, but the team really doesn't see too much there. There's a lot of ball game left, so I got to ask you, yes or no, if you had to predict, does Reggie Begelton make the roster?
I have him making my practice squad, so if that's something.
Okay.
That's farthest I see him
I
going.
would be surprised if he doesn't make the practice squad, just because he's been making those plays and they brought him over from the CFL, so they obviously like him. I'd be surprised if he does make the practice squad. But yeah, a lot of ball game left. He's got to continue that, making those plays at wide receiver, making a connection with Rodgers. And like we said a few weeks ago, he's got to prove not only that he's a good player, but that he adds something so special that they have to keep him, or keep him over Jake Kumro, who's been in the system for another year, been with Aaron Rodgers for another 2. He's got a lot of ball game to prove,
Yep. A lot of practice.
I think, got to turn it around. I think that's where we're going to end it. I guess we could talk a little bit about the league news coming out today, and I'll crack a joke about Mitch Trubisky just because I love to. The Bears, the NFL had false positive tests coming in from a testing laboratory in New Jersey. So a relief, but it was confusing for the scientists or the league professionals. We had such a low rate, and then all of a sudden we have such a big spike. I don't think it's anything to worry about. They're all false positives. NFL players, stay responsible. 9 players were from the Bears, 9 of false positives. So I guess you could say they were just as falsely positive as Ryan Pace was in drafting Mitch Trubisky.
Oh, boy.
That's your Mitch Trubisky joke of the week. Come back next week where we make fun of Mitch Trubisky again on the Underage Packers podcast. We'll see you soon. Peace.